Hi, Rick here, and today I'll be making block prints. Block print is made by carving an image into a block of wood or linoleum or some other medium, and then by inking that image that you've made, you can press out copies. So I'm going to be using MDF as my medium to carve into, and I'm using MDF because it's inexpensive and it's readily available. I bought a 2 by 4 foot piece from Home Depot for around $10, and I can probably cut 25 or 35 by 7 pieces out of that. And as long as you have access to a table saw or a skill saw, you can do that too. MDF is also smooth, it has no grain, and it's easy to carve. On the downside, it's not made to get wet. So when you clean up after printing, it may not last too long. We'll find out. So what you're going to need to get started is a sketch. I have my original sketch here that I made, and then I scanned it into my computer, and I did that for a couple of reasons. It was a little large. I shrank it so it would fit on a 5 by 7 block that I had cut, and I reversed the image because once you draw it onto the block, when you press it to make the image in the block printing, it'll be reversed, and I wanted it after it was pressed to go in the same direction as the original image. So this is especially important if you're going to have lettering of any kind, because it has to be backwards. So you're going to need that and a piece of carbon paper. Now I've cut the carbon paper and the image so that they're the same size as the block. So I have my MDF, it's cut down to 5 by 7. I've also cut a piece of carbon paper down to 5 by 7 so it's not flopping all over the place while I'm trying to use it, and my image has been trimmed down to 5 by 7 so everything fits neatly on the block. I'm then going to tape it down so it doesn't move around on me. And I'm going to use a colored pencil. It's a red one in this case. It could be any color but black or gray. And the reason I'm doing that is so I can see where I left off. And we'll trace out the entire image. So when you're satisfied that you've got everything that you need, take this off. You can make any corrections that you want to make directly on the block now. Okay, so I'm going to color in everywhere that is black so that when I'm carving, I know not to carve that out because it can get confusing. Okay, so this is the artwork on my block. This is my original artwork. Don't copy mine, create your own. When you do, make sure that you distinguish very clearly the black from the white, because those are the only two colors you have to work with. You're going to cut away where it's white and leave the black. Now that the artwork is on the block, we can start to carve it. So you're obviously going to need a few things before you get started. One of the things I recommend is a bench hook. This is obviously a homemade one. I put it together using some scraps. In case you don't know what a bench hook is, it's just a piece of wood or metal or something, a strip of wood going across on the bottom to hold it against your bench, and a strip of wood going across the top and the back to hold whatever you're working on. I've heard a lot of people say that they have them and they never use them. I'm a big fan of using a bench hook. You're going to be putting a lot of pressure when you carve these things, and it's very easy for the knife or the gouge or the chisel to slip, and if you're holding it in your hand, there's a good chance that it's going to go into you. So I like using a bench hook. I think you should get used to using one. Another thing you're going to need obviously is something to cut with. I use Nijai knives. I've had this set for probably 30 years. I use mostly the, hope you can see that, the V-chisels and the very small gouges. You can still buy these knives. They're really inexpensive, and this particular brand seems to hold up well. I've used them for a lot of things over the years. You could also use palm gouges if you have those available. And your artwork. So, as I said before, you're going to cut away what's white, leave what's black behind, and that will be what prints. So after I show you a few basic cuts, I'll speed it up and you can watch it through to the end. Now, I should note that I'm not an expert. This is just the way I do it. You will be using some sharp tools, so you do this at your own risk. So make sure that your knives are sharp. The Nijai knives come with this little tiny sharpening stone. I keep a larger bench stone around when I'm doing this because occasionally you're going to want to hone the blade. And I like to start with the smallest V-gouge that there is in the set, and very lightly start going around areas that I know are going to be white. Now, I'm not going very deep, I'm barely scratching the surface. And I'm doing this so that I can come back later and the tool won't slip out. After I get all of this carved down, I'll go a little bit deeper, maybe with a larger tool, and then I'll put in all of the parallel wavy lines that are going to denote the sky. And I'll move down from there. I take out larger areas with the gouges that are going to be white. Most of the clouds will be taken out with the larger gouges, and I'll just keep working my way down until there's nothing left to do. Now, as I've said before, you only have black and white. You can use things like parallel lines and stippling and things like that to show other texture, but even that's still going to be in black and white. So just start at the top, take your time, and move along. It. So the next step is to take the carved block and make some prints out of it. And I'll do that in the next video because this video is already a little too long. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe below.